In this predominantly Catholic nation, the devil is gaining a foothold.
There is a greater openness towards the devil.
In fact, Rome has been called the most Satanized city in Italy.
Beh, un pochino di sì, no? Un pochino.
Satanism and the occult are in fashion.
There are an estimated 800 satanic cults operating in this country, with more than 600,000 followers. And their numbers are growing.
The devil's diabolical influence is growing in so many areas of our society. He needs to be driven out.
Leading the battle to drive the devil out of Italy is 82-year-old Father Gabriel Amorth.
This is the room where I do my exorcisms.
In a small room not too far from the Vatican, Father Amorth uses the practice of exorcism to drive out the devil from possessed souls.
If a person is not violent, I let them sit in this armchair, and I do the exorcism here. If they're violent, I lay them down, and if necessary, I also tie them down.
Amorth is the Vatican's chief exorcist and the driving force behind the Catholic Church's renewed campaign against the devil. He shows us where he works, but refuses to let us tape him confronting Satan.
I also use oil. It's the oil used for Mass, the same used in a baptism, and I've seen that it works.
Amorth says exorcism is God's true miracle to confronting the devil and his handmaidens.
Medicine and science have cases they can't solve, but which are instead solved by exorcism.
Inside the halls of the Vatican, there is so much concern about the devil's influence on this country that it has started offering courses on exorcism. Pedro Barrajon, a professor of theology, is teaching some of the exorcism classes.
Our bishops need to know how to confront the devil. They need to know how an exorcism is conducted and how to help set people free from the influence of the devil.
Italians got a taste of the devil's influence a couple of years ago when two teenagers were stabbed, bludgeoned, and buried alive here in the woods northwest of Milan. Members of a heavy metal band named the Beasts of Satan were convicted in the double murder. One of the victims was allegedly killed because she resembled the Virgin Mary.
Despite the fact that the presence of the satanic world is fairly widespread, we only knew of rituals where animals were slaughtered. As to rituals involving human sacrifice, this was the first case.
Since then, Italian authorities have been grappling with a string of murders linked to devil worship. The Vatican now has priests working alongside law enforcement officers to tackle a wave of satanic crimes.
We invite the police to sit in on the exorcism classes so that they can understand the spiritual and theological dimensions of this phenomenon.
Many Italians are forsaking priests for magicians, fortune tellers, and faith healers. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that employs thousands of practitioners, like Sensitive Mariano. Sensitive Mariano, whose real name is Salvatore, claims he received the powers of healing and prophecy as a child. Today, he performs an exorcism on Esperanza, a troubled housewife whose life was falling apart until she saw Mariano on TV.
Nel nome di San Benedetto ogni forma di male. Servate speranza da ogni male, da ogni pericolo. Fuori!
With devil worship on the rise here in Italy, some have taken to casting demons out on their own. But the Catholic Church insists that freelancers will not be permitted.
They are crooks. They're not exorcists. It's possible to pray to God to free a person, but proclaiming themselves exorcists, they're cheating people.
But Marco Dimitri says the Catholic Church's portrayal of Satan is part of the problem. To many Italians, Dimitri represents the devil. He heads the Children of Satan, a group that reportedly has more than 1,000 members.
We don't have a cult of devil worship. That would be absurd because the cult of the devil would be the cult of evil. But for us, good and evil are subjective to each individual.
In 1996, Dimitri was accused of raping a 2-year-old boy and a teenage girl in satanic rituals. He was jailed for 14 months before being exonerated by the Italian courts.
True Satanism puts man at the center of the universe and is a noble expression. I want to say to Father Amorth what I say to all exorcists: leave people in peace.
Father Amorth is a busy man these days. He says that every week he sees up to 50 people who claim to be possessed by the devil.
I see a very strong presence of the devil because men are following him.
He has helped train some 300 priests in exorcism. The key, says Father Barahon, is to train priests how to differentiate between psychiatric problems and satanic possession.
This is the key, but I can tell you that those who perform exorcisms, they just have this sense, they just know. Sometimes they look for signs, like if the person is afraid of the cross, or baptismal water, or pictures of Christ. They shake a lot or start screaming, and they may possess extraordinary strength. The priests know what to look for.
Barahon is encouraging Italians to pray more often, attend church, and be aware of an enemy that is very real.
The actions of the devil are not just limited to here in Italy. His evil spirit is roaming the earth, tempting people. We're trying to educate the society and families about the dangers of his influence.
George Thomas, CBN News, Rome.